against Pawn, as we discussed.
And then the Ziggs ban, and a lot of the people in the community also commenting, if you ban out Ziggs, can T1S really rely on EZONE for any hard carrying?
I mean, I think traditionally the answer has been no. There's the Cassidy ban, of course, on the red side. So 2 targeted bans so far at Pawn, but is Yasuo still available? Nami actually taken out. Of course, Wolf, much more known as a Thresh and Sona specialist.
Yes. But
Mata will go ahead and not get Thresh either. Taken out by Samsung OZONE.
And Mata, of course, not too worried about his champion pool as supports. He plays Leona quite well. Now and then he's pulled out some other champions that aren't seen as often, such as Alistar or Blitzcrank. So I think Samsung is okay with banning out that Thresh and putting Wolf on the spot.
Yeah, it is a little awkward, though, because 2 of those support bans on Mata might put him in a difficult situation. We may see a Zyra come up here. Lee Sin may be taken for Horo.
Look at that instant highlight on Yasuo. I don't think they'll lock it in just yet, but Samsung, more and more, they've been gutsy enough to lock in Yasuo against any enemy composition as long as they have their own knockups. I think Samsung just trying to taunt T1. And
yeah, of course, Imp too, really highly prioritizing that Twitch pickup. And there's the TF for Pawn. Pawn not known as much for his TF as Dade is, but you know, when these 2 players can share a lot of information, and they've been working hard to get ready for this tournament and pooling their resources in order to make sure that they're as versatile as possible. And the Twitch pick, no surprise for Imp. What's interesting is how similar Imp and Piglet are in terms of play style. Yes. Twitch, Vayne, they like to play aggressively. They like to play forward on the map immediately after the laning phase. They won't just push turrets. They go into a lane, try and set up picks instead.
And, you know, the TF, not only is Pawn not known for TF, but for going that Lulu, if anything, if you want kind of an early safe pick, especially away from EZONE. TF could also be a pickup away from EZONE, of course. EZONE seems to really favor either Season 2 style champions or Lich Bane champions. So with TF gone, he will default back to that Lulu and then a Morgana pickup for T1S.
It is surprising how far Lulu fell down in this draft here. Not normally a second rotation choice, almost always first rotation or banned here in Korea. So we'll see what Samsung has to offer now. The Nocturne TF combination was used very successfully by Samsung Blue in the Champions Finals.
Yes.
But Dandy, of course, at least his go-to champion, generally speaking. Mata actually taking a Sona, which is a little odd, especially when paired with Twitch.
Yeah, and then of course you have that Black Shield from Morgana. We have that extra health from Wild Growth on Lulu, so we'll see how great the crescendos can be. But Mata, one of the best face checkers with Sona, as we found out not long ago, so we'll see if he can pull off some similar moves here. Now, Lee Sin also going to Horo. That's got to be a threat for Samsung. As confident as Dandy is, Horo, the difference he has on Lee Sin versus other junglers is massive.
Well, his Evelynn is very good too. So, and we've seen targeted bans, Evelynn and Lee Sin and Horo before, and an attempt to shut him down. Horo will sometimes default to Nunu. His Kha'Zix play is not particularly memorable. And Bang may be going for a safe pick here in the Kog'Maw. Marin hovering over one of his favorite champions, Renekton. And one of Marin's biggest flaws is in this lane swap meta, he still plays to carry, and sometimes that really works against him. Sometimes even if you're playing Renekton, you don't want to build that Tiamat first.
Yeah, we've seen that plenty of times from Marin, and sometimes to great success, but as I mentioned, a lot of times in a lane swap not working out in his favor. We saw Jax being highlighted, but Shyvana is still open, and Shyvana just the sturdiest top laner still around the world. So Looper already has that teleport ready. Teleport Shyvana is fine in a lane swap. Can't aim for the late game.
Now the problem with S here is that they don't actually have very good engage. They're reliant on Morgana hitting a binding or on a Lee Sin Q connecting and turning a Wild Growth into an engage, which is kind of awkward actually. Now they will be pretty good at counter-engaging and sieging with the Lulu and Kog'Maw, so we'll see how early EZONE goes for a Lich Bane and how fast they want to push their siege advantage. Samsung has a bit more reliable engage, especially if Pawn goes for an early Zhonya's. That's going to set them up for some nice crescendos and spray and praise as a secondary form of engage.
Absolutely, and Pod going for that Flash Ghost that Dade always prefers on Twisted Fate, so it looks like that is what happened. Some knowledge sharing between Ozone and Blue. Meanwhile, here are the picks from T1S once again. As you mentioned, Monty, not a hard to gauge composition, but they have their strengths. Really also comes down to Bang. He is that safe style of player, so he's not going to get caught too often, but will he still be able to put the damage out there or get enough damage in between breaks, in between minion waves on the tower? Meanwhile, Samsung Ozone, Shyvana for Looper, Dandy on his trademark release, and then that kind of a surprise card from Pawn, TF, Imp on Twitch, and Mata on Sona. So we're ready for set one in the finals of Masters 2014 here in the Tiger Dome of Korea University. It's really all eyes on T1S on this first set. If they can bring a victory to SKT, I think everyone in that organization would be happy. But if Ozone kicks it off with a win, Blue just has to drive them forward by taking down K in set two. We'll find out shortly as the players are loading in and getting ready for our first game here at the Masters 2014 Finals. It's SKT T1S versus Samsung Ozone. As we mentioned, SKT will be on blue side, sets 1 and 3, so T1S kicking off on blue side here.
Yeah, no ward start actually from SKTS. Meanwhile, 2 wards picked up on Mata and Dandy here for Samsung Ozone, and those will be going down early. First ward from Mata in the river right in front of the blue buff, so trying to see if there's going to be a delayed invade right there. 5 stacking. In the brush by red buff. Horo is there. He's sitting in a ward, and he's going to have to get out of the jungle.
Yeah, he saw Pawn just trying to skirt around, decides don't want to risk it, puts his own trinket ward in the red buff, and then will back off. So both teams getting a little bit of knowledge. We see the earlier wards in the top half of the map also.
Yeah, pretty conservative play here so far from both teams. Looks like Samsung Ozone just wants to take their red buff and play it a little more safely. Now, in this situation, could be dangerous for Wolf to land a bind just because that's a lot of bio-arcane barrage damage and basically a free caustic spittle as well to shred.
Yeah.
Mata going to be pretty squishy right here, especially since he started Spell Thief, so lane swap coming in. And, you know, this isn't too surprising. This lane is really going to excel post 6 when they have a lot of kill pressure with TF, and they don't want to get harassed too much before that.
Yeah, both teams responding with their early vision. We saw T1S waiting for that blue, and Ozone spotted it right away, so they're going to go ahead and start on their red a little bit later, but we saw Mata and Imp making their way into T1's blue buff just to put a ward there and make sure that when Dandy decides to go in, if at all, it will be a safe, or at least they'll have backup ready to go.
Yeah, Mata will go ahead and check the Wolf camp so he knows that nobody is on that side of the jungle. He's trying to make sure that his teammates don't get jumped if they go in to go get the blue buff. So they will move across the map, and it'll get interesting depending on where teams really go next. So both teams now on the SKTS side of the jungle.
Yep, just getting their second buffs here, and of course both solo laners accompanying their jungler just for that XP share.
Yeah, indeed, but Looper's still level 1, so actually SKTS did a better job of sharing experience. He's still level 1, actually. I wonder if he gave up XP for both buffs. That's a little odd. As we can see right now, 3 and 2 for Marin and Horo. So Ozone lagging behind a little bit. Finally, Looper hitting 2.
Yeah, and T1S also decided to just push as fast as possible in that bottom lane, of course, while matching their minion wave timings. So they'll get some earlier damage down onto that tier 1, while Mata and Imp are still just sticking true to freezing the lane.
Yeah, I wonder if this is going to be a mistake for Samsung Ozone. We'll see how this affects it. Renekton is going to teleport after the wave bounces off the turret and try and get some experience down in the bottom lane where, well, Bang and Wolf flip up into the top side. Marin is here. He's confident, and he's not going to get doped. You see a lot of wards going down on that side of the jungle, so they know they're gone. There's no top laner in jungle here, so it's actually safe for Marin to collect this XP.
Yeah, so he's going to be well ahead of Looper, it seems, in terms of how he's doing, especially in CS. Going to clear out most of the wave, or as much as he can with that harass coming in. And Looper finally starting to make his way back. Decided to go back, get Boots to accompany him in lane, but we'll see if that really helps him too much, especially if Bang and Wolf decide to take the tower earlier.
Yeah, this was a lot of free experience for Marin right here. That may be problematic for Ozone. Shyvana finally getting into lane, but was denied a lot of experience, and they didn't exactly know where Horo was, so it wasn't the safest for her to go there alone. We do see Dandy now on the bottom side of the map in order to help protect Shyvana in case Looper gets into any trouble, but he's behind, and that tower is about to go down.
Ooh, Pawn gets tagged by Glare Lance, but just baiting Horo in for a counter gank from Dandy. They get a lot of damage, and there's the late cocoon onto Horo. Horo just trying to walk out. He flashes out the last moment, dodging one last auto attack from either champion.
Very close right there for Horo. Definitely too close for comfort, but a good gank from Dandy coming in. They're starting to push the wave out. At the very least, make it a little bit more difficult for this Lulu to farm. Ooh.
Yeah, Pawn is going to have to watch out a little bit. He's been taking a lot of poke from those Glitter Lances, and that's credit to EasyHoon really utilizing Lulu's kit very well. Wolf and Bang, meanwhile, have kept the tower low, but now decided to freeze right in front. So Looper can't do anything. Elise showing up. Can he get the cocoon? EasyHoon's just going to dodge it with that whimsy. Horo getting very low to the white.
Yeah, pretty dangerous actually to go back up into that topside jungle, but confident in his team's warding so that Renekton can actually get some of that CS and protect Lee Sin, even though he's quite low at the time. And now, is Looper going to be able to save this turret? He's scared of getting hit by a binding right there. No, he's going to let the wave die, and that wave will be slowly pushing out. So no freeze for Looper.
No, sir. He's going to have a rougher time than Marin. Marin's been doing just quite fine for himself, or as well as he could be. We'll see what he picks up when he goes back. He definitely has much more gold than Looper did on his first back. But no, Marin's actually going to cancel his teleport. Decides to wait until his teammates show up just to make sure that he can gather as much XP as possible.
Yeah, just trying to farm out the cannon minion, do what he can, and he pushes this pretty hard. Looper trying to farm right here in front of the tower. Nobody really stopping him right now, so he's going to push up as well, see if he can't get some free hits while the cannon minion wave is there. There's the teleport coming in. He was trying to deny.
Yep.
So they knew that Renekton was trying to recall and then teleport up into the top lane, so Renekton will get all of that XP, not a lot taken away there by Looper. Looper, are they going to go for a dragon right here? Indeed they will. 7 minutes into this game. They've got everybody on the bottom side of the map, so why not?
Yeah, Looper's just going to go ahead and start it. There is a ward there, but not as much backup available for T1S. Marin is climbing up towards that dragon pit, but it's 4-5 members, as you mentioned, Monty, all 5 now focusing on this dragon. They want to secure it just as fast as possible. Danny gets the smite. Meanwhile, Marin does have that longsword. We'll see if he's going to go for his trademark Tiamat once again early on. Level 6, he's going to start a fight with him. He puts down some nice damage with his W, but will back off.
Now, great timing from Looper as well. The dragon was finished right as the wave hit the tower, so Looper was able to teleport into the top lane and absorb most of that experience. You can see he's still a level down, but he got the objective and was there to get what he could out of the top side of the map.
All right, EasyHoon just trying to keep Pawn away from the minion wave as much as possible, but Pawn's doing just fine trying to keep up in CS. A little bit behind, but considering it is against a champion like Lulu, I don't think Pawn's too worried about that. He is going for that mana region and MR first, building up the chalice towards the Athene's Unholy Grail.
Him just trying to freeze and zone Marin out as best he can.
Yeah, Marin's just itching for some extra XP, and he's doing really well, walking towards the wave just when another minion's about to die, and then backing off. He's not too concerned about the CS right now. He just wants to stay ahead, and look at all that free damage going down onto Looper. He needs to run away. He can't risk getting caught by those bindings anymore, especially if Bang hits level 6. You get the living artillery on top of that, and that's way more damage than level 5.
Yeah, Pawn is level 7, but he hasn't actually made a play yet. Now, he may need Dandy there, or he's waiting for Mata to hit 6. So they have to have some form of hard CC in the lane, or at least it makes TF ganks a lot easier to land successfully. So Dandy either has to be there, or we have to have Mata get that crescendo and get it down.
Meanwhile, T1S takes another tower down against Samsung Ozone. They are definitely going for some fast pushes here, but we'll see. We see this often with a lot of teams. You get the side towers, and then how well do you manage the middle? And once you get all 3 tier 1s, how patient are you with your sieging and your picks in the enemy jungle? We'll find out shortly, I'm sure, from T1S. Horo just checking for enemy camps, denying Looper that experience. Dandy also here to defend his own jungle, but it's looking a little bit scary for him.
Well, also, Samsung Ozone isn't going to be too worried about losing those towers, because if they push up too far, Pawn, it just makes it easier for him to port in as TF and get the kills.
Oh, Horo gets caught, and there's support in from Pawn. Horo is not going to go down too easily thanks to the Black Shield, but they will get a kill. There is the ultimate coming in from Morgana. Looper actually gets caught a little bit too far behind, has to flash over the wall in order to not die from the long-range Bi-Arcane Barrage from Bang's Kog'Maw.
Well, Mata already there just to help defend a little bit. Pawn waiting at the turret, going to go ahead and use that blue card, get a bunch of mana back. And that's exactly the problem, right before I said it. The side lanes going down this early doesn't really matter to Samsung Ozone. It just gives them more opportunities to create plays with the Twisted Fate. And not only that, but they're going to outscale anyway. So a small early deficit, especially when they got the dragon already, isn't going to be the end of the world. Imp is farming up nicely, and as soon as Imp also hits that Blade of the Ruin King power spike, he will also highly benefit from the side towers being down quickly, because again, overextension, and then it's easier to make plays with ambush when they're well away from your side of the map.
That's absolutely true. Pumping up his own blue buff. And Horo trying to catch Mata, but Pawn's right there with a gold card. They're trying to turn around, but Marn showing up from the mid lane. Pawn narrowly dodges that Dark Binding. That's going to save his life for the time being as he returns to mid lane to face off against EasyHoon once again.
Everybody down in bot right now. Imp just waiting on that blade. That's a very scary moment for SKTS. It's the play he's going to make right after he gets that item. Now, he has denied this Kog'Maw quite a bit of XP right now. Wolf trying to get some deep wards into the jungle, but is a little reluctant to go too far in at the present time. Big minion wave slamming into the topside tower right now, but Imp and Mata really didn't do much damage to that. A lot of it thanks to Marin's wave clear once he got there early.
Yeah, Marin was very smart about controlling the waves. He is going for that Tiamat as we see the pickaxe. So Marin hasn't really changed much throughout several patches, favoring his own playstyle right now. Imp continuing to try to deny Bang, but it's Kog'Maw. He has several skills long range to help pick up that farm. EasyHoon in a little bit of trouble. Dandy's waiting by, but Pawn gets spotted by the ward, and EasyHoon takes it a little bit slow.
Yeah, and
Wolf needs to watch out. Dandy did step out for a short second, still walks right into that cocoon, but Wolf flashes out before the crescendo can hit, and here we see the teleport coming in from Looper. He is going to land, but after Marin gets the stun onto Mata, there's the wild growth. Marin and Horo take out the first kill. Meanwhile, Looper gets caught by Wolf. By all skills possible, EasyHoon has to flash away as Dandy continues to chase Looper. Low health, but trying to come back for a kill, but Bang at long range by Arcane Barrage is going down. Looper chasing EasyHoon. It's not an easy target when it's Lulu. Looper still alive. Pix is on him, but they can't get another. Glitter lands down. Looper will survive until the Captain Surprise takes him out. Samsung responds by also taking down Marin.
wow. Okay, a bit of a scattered fight right there from all sides, but set up with a nice pick from Dandy and Mata to just burst down Wolf before he could actually hit with that Black Shield. And they're playing out their composition really well right now. They're all based around picks with at least Twitch and TF. So they managed to make it happen due to a nice pink ward.
Let's look at the replay here. I mean, it kicks off with Wolf nearly getting assassinated, but he dodges the crescendo at the very edge.
And then the first teleport coming in right now. Later teleport for Shyvana. And a good Wild Growth actually prevents this fight from being very one-sided in favor of Samsung Ozone. But the tank line goes a bit too deep right there, and they leave their carries in the back alongside Twitch, Shyvana, and Elise, and that really doesn't work out for them right there. Bang will die with no mana, and Looper taken down shortly thereafter. SK Telecom S going after this dragon. There is the gate.
Yep, Destiny on. Pawn looking to gate. He's going to gate in just on the outside. They're going to corner 3 people of T1S in the Dragon Pit. Wolf helps secure the Dragon with the Dark Binding. Dandy still goes in with massive damage onto Wolf. He's going to be sacrificed. Meanwhile, Bang, surviving and lives with the Wild Growth, takes down Imp before he goes down. And Captain Surprise is not going to be able to get a kill. Pawn gets another gold card onto Marin. Jonas is up, but look at that health get chunked down by Dandy. Another gold card onto Marin, continued by the Cocoon. Horo can't save him with the safeguard.
Now, this early into the game, those basically because Samsung Ozone got a 2-kill advantage in that fight, so it was 1 kill for 3 in favor of Ozone. Even though SKTS picked up the Dragon, with the assist money and the regular money, the 2-kill advantage is actually worth more in terms of global gold right now. So Samsung Ozone squeaking out ahead in that one, actually. So S, perhaps a little bit of an ill-advised Dragon. They knew that the TF ultimate was still up because TF just ran into the last fight.
That's true. Him trying to get an ambush onto Horo, he's not going to find it, but both teams have 1 Dragon each. T1S has those 2 towers, but that last fight with the 3 extra kills total gives Ozone the edge here at 15 minutes into set number 1. Ozone finally getting their first tower here in the bottom lane. Wolf trying to get some Dark Bindings, but yeah, he has to be scared of Dandy at this point. The Black Shields come up only so often.
And this has been just an incredibly patient game from Samsung Ozone. They knew, despite the fact that they lane swapped up into the top side, because of the hard pressure from SKTS early, they knew that SKTS hadn't done that early Dragon, and so they were able to take it as they rotated at 7 minutes. So they made a conscious choice here not to go for the tower, but to try and make a play for the Dragon as soon as SKTS recalled after finishing the tower on their side of the map. So they kept up in global gold that way, but then they actually, in this situation, it was actually perfect for them that they could stay even in gold, but also bait SKTS into overextending on the map at the same time. Yeah. With this pick composition, insanely dangerous to do. Imp now with the Blade of the Ruined King.
He's looking happy, and he's really also contributing a lot to that gold gain. Is 30 CS or almost there ahead of Bang's Kog'Maw. Everyone else sitting pretty even except for Looper, who recently had more time to get some CS. Marin is back in lane though. He'll pick that wave up. And they're actually just going to go ahead and duel. Marin wanted to duel with that Tiamat, but we have a full Sunfire Cape on Looper on top of Ninja Tabbies. And Looper just keeping eyes on Marin, so Marin can't comfortably port back home.
There's nothing that Renekton can do against that Shyvana. That's a big power spike when you get that Sunfire Cape, and also, not to mention the Ninja Tabby to only a Tiamat. So Looper actually going to win split pushing battles from now until forever, essentially, unless Marin shows up and gets 4 or 5 kills to match him. But Looper really dealing a lot of damage in these team fights, showing up at the right time with the teleport. The other facet of this, too, that makes actually the way that Ozone played out this game with this composition so brilliant is not only did losing those towers and trading them for the Dragon. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, we are going to see a fight here as the gate comes in. Wolf gets caught by the Cocoon. Gold card ready to go. Gets put on Horo, but Horo does get his Dragon's Rage. A nice double crescendo onto 2 members of T1S is going to allow Dandy to get a double kill leading in. Wild card gets thrown. Cocoon at the last second, not able to hit Easy Hoon. Dandy pretty low, so he's going to have to back off, but Looper is already behind enemy lines, preparing for a flank if they need on this dive. Meanwhile, Pawn is going to get chased away by Marin, or maybe it's the other way around as Pawn gets some free damage onto that Renekton, who doesn't have many defensive stats, and T1S is going to have to back off. A nice double flanked from, we have Looper and Pawn on either side of T1S.
Yeah, it's perfect too, because this composition with Twitch is not very good at sieging, so you have to kind of zone them out so that Twitch doesn't get caught, because he's very immobile right in front of the turret. So the pressure on the flanks, pretty flawless right there. They had good wards on the side as well, top side, to make sure that Looper wasn't going to get caught out alone. Now, to go back to the first part of this game and explain why the fast pushing and the 2 early towers were perhaps a mistake, not only because it's easier for TF and Twitch to make plays on you as you're overextended, but basically because Samsung Ozone will outscale anyway, and SKTS has champions that, especially Renekton, that are better in the early game. If they don't overextend, then the freezes will just come in, and you'll be in a comfortable late game for OZONE. So actually, SKTS's decision to fast push the bottom tower instead of doing the dragon while they had control over the bottom side of the map really changed the outcome of this game substantially.
Yeah, we're starting to see that a lot more as Looper is very aggressive about his pushing now. He knows he has that extra power spike. Marin forced to go back and get a Negatron cloak on top of a longsword with all this extra magic damage coming in from Samsung OZONE. Not only just Shyvana, but we had Pawn doing some nice damage onto Marin also. Wolf standing in a ward, but just standing guard really more than anything for Bang as Dandy shows up to make sure they can't push this lane up any further. Horo actually looking for perhaps a gank on Dandy, but he also gets spotted by the same ward going in. Mata comes up from behind just to chase Marin away. You don't see a Renekton run away from Sona too often, but when you have a Twitch on the team, I guess you can make it work.
When your Twitch is invisible and you don't know where he is, you start to get really scared. If a lone Sona shows up and starts cueing you in the face, you begin to assume that something else is there. There's a TF ultimate just to help wave clear.
Yeah, they also get vision onto Horo, so Dandy was not able to defend the wave on his own. He actually takes a lot of damage. Pawn, he had some great initiations or joining in team fights with that gate, so I think he feels comfortable using it now just for defensive purposes once in the movement.
And that'll be a dragon over to SKT, T1S again, but they are pretty far behind in terms of that global gold right now. Fights going in Samsung's favor, turrets now going in Samsung's favor as well. And TF, this is where I'm really curious whether he's going to build that Zhonya's against the composition that SKT is running with the Kog'Maw. If we can see what was so great of
Imps going in for an ambush. He sees two members. He catches easy, and with that Blade of the Ruined King, Looper shows up right away. Wild Growth used, but most importantly, blue buff denied, and Marin almost goes down with that long range spray and pray coming in from Imp's Twitch.
And they deny the blue buff successfully. Imp gets it passed over to him, considering that Pawn is right in the mid lane, but they have so much vision control, they can just do this.
Yeah, there's no vision on them from T1S. They have all of their corners covered, and Pawn, meanwhile, keeping eyes on the mid lane. We are seeing Wolf beeline it towards that Baron, but Mata's waiting there. He gets spotted by that last-minute ward, so Wolf doing what he can to stop the Baron, and that's enough good news for T1S.
And in 20 minutes, that's the perfect call right there. See if you can get it, but if they come, don't worry too much about it. You could just turn, see if you can make a pick, but there was already a ward in that brush. Now, they do lose the mid lane turret for it, so that was a nice counterplay there from SKTS. But they're still pretty far behind.
Yeah, T1S looking a bit tough. Not grim, but they're going to have a rough time if they want to climb back up and take this first victory for SKT T1. Marin, most of all, struggling again with that Tiamat build. And Looper, happy to duel with him. He has that Warden's Mail, and we have the rest of T1S focusing down onto Looper. He was completely baited in to a fake 1v1. Looper trying to make the escape he can by leaping over that wall. Flash just dodges the Dark Binding and the Glitter Lance. He's going to get away with Burnout. What an escape by Looper.
And yeah, that was just another good example of how you can use this Twisted Fate ultimate to put fear into people. Pawn just popping it, making sure that there wasn't any follow-up, because they really can't fight right now, this TF. So they have to back off as soon as the threat of that ult comes in. However, SKTS did reclaim control over their blue side jungle, which is going to be very helpful for them moving forward. OZONE needs to go back, pick up a few more wards, and see if they can stake their claim once again around the Baron pit.
Imp still charging forward in terms of CS against Bang. Bang went for the early Trinity Force before even the Blade of the Ruined King on that Kog'Maw.
And I love that Pawn got Zhonya's as a second item here. In this situation, it's so perfect. And in the first fight in the mid lane, Wolf a little bit dangerous place, but OZONE doesn't see him. In the first fight, we did see Dandy do a fantastic job of clearing Black Shield with Neurotoxin so that the Cocoon and the gold card could land from the flank. But Pawn, he just needs to initiate right now, so they need to bait out the Black Shield and then see if they can get that very crucial gold card down onto Bang, because that'll force Lulu to use Wild Growth on Kog'Maw, which is really suboptimal right now. And then the front line of SKTS will pretty much just be crushed by Shyvana and Twitch.
Yeah, Dandy, we just saw taking some good damage from T1S. He did go for, of course, that cooldown, a little bit of Magic Pen for the early game here on Elise. Now has that Giant Spell. A lot of damage onto Tier 2 here in bottom lane against T1S. All members of SKT reporting for duty as Samsung just backs off. And Looper with Teleport up is happy to stay in mid lane on his own.
Yeah, and there's really nobody who can stop him right now.
The warding continuing to come in from OZONE. Once again, Mata really leading the team in terms of warding direction. He often just tells his teammates where to ward, how many wards to buy when they go back home. And Imp and Looper will take this chance as SKT T1S flops around a little bit between mid and bottom lane. They'll take away Tier 2 in that mid lane.
While Looper is just pressing all the waves right now, Imp just moving an ambush through the jungle, so they never know exactly where he is. He just shows up, kills the tower, and that's it. Pawn looking for a little bit of free damage. He's got a gate out of there, actually. Ghosting, nope. Decides not to use it.
Yeah, he uses both Destiny and Ghost, and then he's just going to gate right on top of Horo. Almost catches him with a gold card, but Horo will escape. And Samsung, meanwhile, now they're all going to focus onto that top lane. Two members of T1S now moving up from bottom. A nice crescendo over the wall onto Bang. There is no wild growth there to save him, nor the Black Shield. Marin now also caught behind. He will be able to slice and dice out, but with low health, he has to go back home. Samsung will take another Tier 2.
That was such a good crescendo.
Another flash forward by Imp, trying to get a kill onto Marin. Black Shield and a follow-up flash from Marin will save him. Imp goes into ambush, a nice slow onto Easyon to keep the entire team of SKT T1 zone. As Pawn gets caught, but he's okay. Dandy follows through, gets down onto Marin with that repel, but he's going to be caught behind with a stun. And Samsung will refocus onto this inhibitor. Bang is up with full health. And we do see a teleport coming in from behind from a full health Marin. He's going to show up. Can he get a crucial stun? A nice gold card from Pawn will keep him at bay. Slicing, dicing forward. He gets a stun onto Mata. All members of Samsung caught behind a three-man tether from Wolf. But Wolf goes down before he can get the stun. Dandy kicked backwards by Horo. Easyon gets caught behind by Samsung. Samsung only loses Mata to turn this around with another 3 kills.
Wow, Looper and Dandy escaping with next to no HP in that situation, just showing how big this lead is, that they can kind of over-push objectives right there, go in deep into the base, and then even in that turnaround, have enough items to come out alive.
Yeah.
So just pretty much a perfect knowledge of their limits right there. And now Marin's teleport is down, Looper's is up, so he's going to be able just to split push. That bottom Tier 2 has nearly no HP on it anymore. Let's take a look at this again. So Marin TPs, no mana on Pawn either, throws a gold card, and there's the slice and dice. Right through the minion wave too. If that minion wave hadn't been there, Marin would not have been able to engage.
No.
Wolf, yeah, like you said, dies before the tether can go off. Dandy gets kicked out of that fight, but Easyhoon stunned once again.
And Dandy also repelling right as he was getting kicked, so there could be no follow-up damage to Samsung. Playing that quite well. Mata, of course, was sacrificed, but not a big deal for the Samsung OZONE team right now. And Wolf, he had a great ultimate, but it just didn't have the health to follow through with that extra damage and the CC.
Indeed. And so Samsung taking their very large lead at this point, and it's like they'll be driving it home fairly soon. They're trying to clear out this bottom side jungle. Oracle's lens used by Mata as they move down to take Tier 2. They don't seem particularly concerned about the Baron, and why should they be?
Yeah, they're so far ahead, and it's really smart play more than anything coming in. We see the speed boost onto Samsung. They're just going to charge forward, zone them out. The tower's really low. They'll let the minion do the work as Dandy repels down onto Marin. They're trying to get a catch. Marin does escape thanks to the Whimsy and health picks, but the Tier 2 sacrifice. Looper took some tower damage, but seems to be okay as Samsung continuing with their great wave clear from Pawn.
Yeah, I like how they're trying to just use this top lane pressure from the super minions to clear out right now and push down the bottom tower and inhibitor instead of going for a somewhat risky Baron, especially because they don't have any vision over there right now. It would take them a long time to actually gain control of that area. So go ahead, take the last Tier 2. It is an objective standing easily on the map at the moment.
Yeah, Bang did what he could with that living artillery. Will clear people out. Of course, the glitter lands from Easy and also helping. So T1S gets to protect what is left of their base. But Samsung also okay with that. They'll just go back, push somewhere else, and if they continue to rotate upwards, they will eventually go clear out vision from Baron and either go for a bait or the actual Baron buff itself.
Yeah, we'll see. They're playing this very cautiously. They're still trying to make picks here.
Ooh, Im showing up. And does get the slow onto Easy, and there's Desi Looper actually, a little bit of a preemptive Dragon's Descent over the wall to catch a kill.
Yeah, not the best Shivata ult ever, but
at least he didn't hit the wall.
Well, he didn't. It wasn't detrimental, let's be sure, too.
Yes.
Just going to wait for the cooldown. But Samsung knowing that they don't have the best team for these sieges, and so they're just trying to clear vision and make a pick.
Yeah, and their movement, I think their over-aggression actually keeping T1 also overly cautious, so they get some extra damage they didn't before on this inhibitor turret. It's below half health now. Samsung choosing to back off for the time being. Horo going into some ward wars here. Doesn't want to give Samsung any more to work with in that bottom half of the map.
And that, I think, will be the last wave of the Super Minions. Yes, indeed it will. So Samsung OZONE used that entire inhibitor downtime to not even kill the bottom tower. But it is, again, difficult with this Twitch, difficult with this composition. TF also has some issues sieging towers, even with a Lich Bane, because, yeah, he's got decent range, but he doesn't have any movement abilities, so he can get caught out very easily. The binding is such a threat to the siege of SKT, or of Samsung OZONE, because if that Twitch, if that TF gets hit by a binding, could be insanely bad for them, because Renekton will immediately follow up with a stun of his own, and they'll burst down that target.
Yep. Lens runs out. They have a second one. They'll work with Lens on Mata to clear out vision around Baron. Now a teleport out. Marin is going to go home, even though he knows the vision war is going on here at that Baron buff. Looper also with his teleport on in that bottom lane. So T1S now has to make that choice. Marin is going to respond to that. Both teleports are up. We'll see if he chooses to teleport together or, in fact, just stop Looper. That could be the better choice, as Looper is ahead, has a bigger impact on the team fights.
Yeah, they're still trying to bait around the pit right here. And Looper, you know, he hasn't done too much with his teleport this game, but he has used it when it counts, and he's just been such a force in team fights, 5-1 and 5.
Yeah.
And ward wars around the Baron pit. Looper taking a few shots. And here comes Pawn.
Yeah, he is going to get the stun onto Mar, and they get the slow also, and that's just going to give them time to get the inhibitor turret. Smart play from Samsung OZONE, the kind of play you'd come to expect. Cocoon not hitting Wolf. Marin gets stunned once again. Destiny used to get vision of everyone else, and 4 members caught. As Dragon's comes in, Wolf gets melted once again before the tether can finish. Dandy gets an execute onto Easy Hoon, a double kill onto Bang, and that looks like it's going to be good game, as OZONE takes down 4 members, and Dandy has to flash out. Horo not able to get even a mercy kill against Dandy. OZONE is going to kick off this series for Samsung 1-0, with Dandy eventually done to the tower, giving a kill to Horo.
Oops, he thought he got that repel in time, but no.
And Horo doing what he can to slow them down, but Imp will get the kill. Still 10 seconds until Easy and Bang show up. Samsung up 1-0. Is this the start to a clean sweep of SKT T1?
Well, we'll have to wait and find out.